Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Terrace Lodge Redevelopment Fundraising Committee meeting. It's September 18th at 4:35. Thank you for your patience. We'll get the meeting started. I'll call the meeting to order and immediately look at approving the agenda. Any omissions or something you want to add, change? Doesn't look like it, so could I have a mover and seconder to approve the agenda? Jim? Jamie? All in favor? And that's carried. Next, we have the adoption of the minutes from our June meeting. Were there any errors or omissions? They were included in the agenda package. Seemed all in order, and thank you to staff for that. If there are no changes, I'll take a mover and seconder to approve the minutes. Amaryllis and Sarah, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interests or general nature thereof? Seeing none today. Do not have any delegations, so we can move on right away to our donation update report delivered today by our CAO, interim CAO, Don. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to be here. Jennifer is taking a well-deserved holiday today, so that's why you're getting the second-rate financial report from the CAO. Everyone should have received a copy of the financial report that Jennifer had prepared. The significant piece is that there was an additional $1,285 collected to support our fundraising efforts, and I do not believe there were any additional expenses incurred during that same time period. I think the rest of the report speaks for itself. I'd be happy if people would like to ask any questions. I'd be happy to go through those as best I can. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. As we said, pretty straightforward report. Most of the activity has been in awareness raising over the past couple of months. So any comments or questions on the fundraising update, the financial update? Not seeing any urgent comments or questions, so get off the hook easy. Could I have a mover and seconder to receive the report? Is that the resolution? Yeah. Jamie, Sarah, all in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you. This is more fun than a council meeting. Maybe I'll come back. Thank you.
We tried. Thank you. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. It's okay. Now you know what it feels like. Next we'll move to 6.2 is a report on summer activities and events attended. As you know, we haven't met throughout the summer. We focused on trying to get the word out there. So we don't have a formal report. I thought I would just open the floor for a recap of everything that the committee did over the summer, so we can debrief a little bit and share the experiences. So I'll open it up. Basically, I would like to just recap which events we attended and what the setup was, and the outcome from your perspective was. I know we did get a chance to debrief in May after we attended the animal fair. I'm looking at you, Jamie. I'm just, animal display. So we did debrief that. That was our first event of the year. And then, does anyone recall? Wendy?
I think we went to Edison Fest after that. And then we had the Aylmer Fair, was that next? And then the historical, the 2 days at the historical site, I can't remember what that was called. And then Watermelon Fest. Did I miss anything?
That's That sounds right. Was there did you do something in BAM? Oh, in Vienna? Did you attend?
That was the Edison Fest.
That was the Edison Fest. Okay. Great.
And I sent pictures from the historical site and Watermelon Fest. But the historical site, I didn't have the proper consents for the photos. So, but I did, I think when I brought in everything, the package, I put in the consents for the two at Watermelon Fest, the young men there. And then the two that we had at the historical site was really, they were really delightful, those two. And I did write down the contact information so that I could always follow up in getting a consent from them. I had a written informal consent that they just signed that day and the date. And I witnessed it, but it wasn't proper. Anyway, that was it.
Okay, so quite a few events attended, and I will say mostly by you, Wendy. And I want to actually give a round of applause for Wendy. And like honestly, amazing. I don't know, and I know this year was a bit more difficult for availability, and you managed to get them all up and running. And others were able to put some time as well, but in terms, we know it's a lot of work, just the logistics and all the materials that need to be transported. They can't be left overnight, so there's a lot of back and forth. So amazing, honestly. I don't think we would have been at many events if it weren't for you, so that's just a fantastic contribution.
I just want to say it felt great having Jim and Jamie there because it was really great because they just, Jamie's a master seller and Jim knows everybody.
What a team. That's great. I love it. Nice. Yeah. So excellent, excellent work. Just keeping the word out there and keeping a little bit of momentum. So the other thing we tried for the first time, I think at the booth, was the chocolates. Did you want to, so that's our first. Do we want to debrief that a little bit? Give us a little bit of background so we can capture the information, because we were able to decide that as a committee by email. And you were able to get that up and running, but we haven't met since we made that decision. So if you wanted to maybe debrief a little bit and fill us in on the status or the story and the status, would be great.
So I'm not sure. I think most people are where we were selling mint smoothies. I believe it started about the 1st of October. We did that holiday weekend. And August, I'm so sorry. Oh, it's been a long time. So we started in Port Burwell, Vienna, Stratfordville, and in we have here for Elgin County. And Jamie has been dynamic in terms of her sales over in Aylmer, and Terrace Lodge has a box as well. So we have about $2,000 right now, but then there's still money. That's just a guesstimate because I brought some, I've collected some, but I didn't quite get it all tallied in. And then I haven't picked up a couple of places. I was trying to wrap it up today, but that didn't quite work because the stores are quite keen in. What I learned is that corner stores are wonderful. That's where your biggest sales are. And the corner stores in Vienna, Port Burwell, and Stratfordville have been just tremendous sellers. One in particular in Stratfordville sells out in 3 days, and I usually drop in 15 there, so she's really going well. So in about the 8 weeks, we have gotten around the $2,000 mark. So we should, if we sold 600, it would be $2,400, but it costs us $330 every time we do it. So I haven't taken my money out yet because I don't know how to do that. Like whether I should just be taking it out of the pot of everything, or whether I should be submitting the bill. Like I paid the bills, but I'm not quite sure what to do. So we have to take the $990 out of that 2,000, out of the 2,400. I'm sorry. It has been on the honor system, and I did have to kind of take a couple out of stores a little bit early because we've had some degree of difficulty with people not quite putting in the $4. And so that was a little bit difficult. But anyway, we've had people pay $5 and $6. So that kind of, it seems to be working out relatively well. I was thinking hoping that, well, I was hoping to be done, but then we talked about the fall. Jamie and I were discussing that and moving into Aylmer a little bit. And so I guess I would turn to everyone because I don't know Aylmer and Springfield in that area very well. I would suspect that the corner stores do well there too, but I don't know. It would be nice to get into the police college. And I'd like to keep the little stores going and then aim for Christmas, stop at Christmas time and just absolutely stop.
They tend to do well for fundraisers around Christmas. However, there's other organizations that use it as well. So if we do ours into the fall and then stop maybe November, then we won't be competing with other organizations because some of the schools even do it. So.
That would be your recommendation, probably stop by November 1st. And yeah, you would agree with that? Oh,
Also, we have poppy sales. No, we don't have it, but there'll be the poppy sales. We'll be
Right.
in competition with $2 for $1, but a different sort.
Yeah, I don't think it will interfere too much with the poppies because the poppies are $1 or whatever they want to put in, and it's not something you can consume. But with the schools, the children go around with it and everybody's a sucker for kids and chocolates.
To keep everything kind of straight on the up and up, what would I do with the money? I'm sitting with all this money at home and I also have the costs for it. So I just wondered how I would do that, the way that the procedure that you would want.
I'm wondering to our treasurer first.
It would be most transparent if you submitted your receipts and submitted all the money. And then it could be reimbursed to you for the amount that it costs to purchase them outright.
So right now I've got bags of toonies and loonies and I was thinking maybe if I roll them and take them to the bank and get the bills instead, the dollar bills.
We really need financial person here.
I was
beyond me.
gonna say, yeah, we could refer
yes.
to Jennifer to clarify what her preference, before you go
Yes.
through that trouble.
Yes.
Perhaps she has a suggestion.
Yes, I would agree that checking with Jennifer to see exactly how she'd like it brought to her is probably the best course of action. I'll follow up with her and ask because I'm sure you have quite a lot of change.
Okay, so we'll sort out the logistics of the financials, but yeah, so if you can do a little summary of the amounts in and out, I agree. And we'll confirm that with Jennifer. Any other comments on that little experiment, which again, very grateful that you suggested that and took the initiative. It's a lot of, again, more logistics and a lot of back and forth. So a ton of work. Thank you. And I realized that's part of, that will take care of item 8.1 on the agenda also at the same time. So in terms of next steps, then fairly clear. And
I wondered, could I ask about sites? In terms of where you are, Jim and Aylmer? Oh, could I ask about sites, popular sites for various areas? Because I don't know in terms of how things go here.
Well, yeah, picking out sites in Belmont would be the Belmont Arena, I guess, would be about the site, where there's hockey and that sort of thing going on, but, there are events and, they did have an event earlier in the spring. You were there too, Dominique, for, where they had businesses and that sort of thing came into the arena for the afternoon and had displays, etc. And we were set up there also. So,
We didn't have the chocolate at the time yet,
yeah,
but so at the arena, so I suspect Wendy, you need someone there, right? Like they wouldn't be by themselves. So is there a concession or something, or like how?
I haven't been in there for a long time, really, but they do have a concession place, I believe.
I don't think they could get anyone to go in there.
Oh.
So,
Okay,
but I'm not 100% sure, but, my sister-in-law is the president of the figure skating club, so I can
Yes.
touch base with her.
that would be a good move, yeah.
But there are quite a few businesses in Belmont that would probably be open to putting up a little chocolate display for us.
Actually, the manager of the Fresh Mart in Belmont gave us a $200 donation. And one thing I wanted to check and see if a receipt had gone out to him for that, but he said he didn't need it, but I think it would be the right thing to do, so.
Yeah, we can find out for sure, but it is automated through the system. So I
Mhm.
I think it has gone through the system, correct?
I had to follow up with him to get some more information, so I could input it properly. So he should be receiving his
Okay, good.
appropriate receipt.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, one thing I'm not sure where to bring it up on the agenda. One thing I noticed when my wife and I were at Elmer Fair, it would be, if it would be possible to have, here's an item that we're raising funds for, rather than making it comforts of home, specific items that we would like funds to be purchased. It makes it a little more, well, you just know what you're giving money for rather than put it in the pot
Mhm.
type deal. That's something we could take a look at.
Okay, take that. If we go to other events, we can work with staff to see what else we could bring as examples. Many items are very bulky, like a table or chair or but if there are some smaller items and like blankets or but yeah, yeah, the more concrete, the easier. Jamie.
If we could find a way to make the computer work all the time, we could have a video screen with the items. So they could have a visual that way, and then you don't have to lug these things around. So any events that we would do now would be indoor events, so it might make it easier. But that would be a good way to be able to see what it is. And I always refer them to the website as well. And even if they're not getting coloring books or whatever, I give them something and talk about the website and how it was developed, why it was developed, and then they can see things. So both work, but it's just awkward to bring items and transfer them from one person to another and stuff like that. So if we had a visual of it, then that would be.
Could be photos, and if we don't have the monitor working for some reason, then
Yeah, or even photographs of things
Right.
and make a
or
scrapbook.
just print the
Yeah.
catalog like we did last Christmas. We had a printed catalog. Wendy and then Jim.
I did get sloppy with the money. There was, I just put it in a bag and sent it, I think I sent it over in the package. So I don't know, it was like $114 or something. Did you get that or?
Yes, I've seen that number twice.
Okay.
I've seen that number twice, so I'm just confirming if it's the same or if it was different. So I have input one version of that.
So that would make sense, because yeah, there was a question as to what that amount was, and I do believe it was what you submitted for the box that where we were picking up at the booth. So that would make sense that it's not a round number. If it were strictly chocolate sales, it wouldn't be like a 114 and 25, right? So, okay, so that solves that mystery. So it is received. We were just actually even today figuring out how to account for it. So no, I think you did just fine with managing all of that, with everything else that you were managing. I'm not too concerned about that. It has found all the donations, has found the right place. Okay, so a couple good suggestions. And Jim, you had something else?
Well, what I was going to say was that we don't need the items at a display that we're wanting to purchase, but a picture of it and the benefits of having that, I think is the important thing. So people know what we're actually raising money for.
Right, okay. So yeah, probably a little printout, or like I'm thinking of the catalog we did for last Christmas. We could update that with the specific items we have remaining. Wendy?
I was just gonna say, the one thing that I did suggest that we were going to be purchasing were more of the animals, and more of the cats and dogs. Because that was the only thing we had that was really, and that piece of material that had all the little beads in it with the missing or the hidden items. So that sort of thing I kind of referred to. I didn't know the price of it, but I knew the price of the cat, close to it. And the other question I had is the consents. Do I need to pursue that with the people that, anyway, I'll let you decide on whether you want me to pursue that with all four.
Yeah, I think Jenna, what I was thinking is I need to forward the photos that you sent to Jessica. And then if she needs and wants to use them in different contexts, then I think she could follow up with you just to confirm and to get those numbers. So if you can hang on to that information. And then, but thank you for taking photos. Remember, that was something we forgot to do last year. So I'm glad you got a few photos this year. That's nice. Okay, so any other general comments about the events attended? So a few more lessons learned and made a little bit of money. That is something we discussed. I think the chocolates help boost the return on investment, because it is quite a bit of time and effort and driving and logistics and a lot of back and forth. It is good to keep the campaign out there, but it's not the main fundraiser per se, right? So, but we can continue to fine tune those events. And we'll come up further down item 8. We can further brainstorm if there are any other activities and anything else we wish to pursue for the rest of this year, for this fall. Jenna, do we need a resolution? Oh, did I miss? Oh, Emerald, sorry. I need to look at the screen. Go ahead.
That's okay. I wasn't sure whether this was the time, but I'm wondering if we can do a regular scheduled appeal on the socials that keeps reminding people that it's still going on. Because that can be very successful, and because they can be scheduled and we can update, I don't know, occasionally or once a month or something to let people know how much closer we're getting to the goal. Those types of appeals seem to be very successful. And I'm just wondering if we could do that on the regular. I know we did it through Christmas campaign last year, but if we could do it on the regular, we might see some more return, especially now coming to the end of the year when people are starting to look for places to donate money for tax purposes. Just a suggestion, because like I've shared many times, it's really difficult to get people interested in the West End out here. Because there's always so many fundraisers going on, but this might be a way that we could reach others. If we like, share and donate or something like that. I believe those can be scheduled. Am I correct, Jenna?
Yes, yep, we can certainly schedule posts, and that is something that our communications coordinator Jessica is working on. She's working on a schedule for those posts. And yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. So that's one meeting that we had as a follow-up to our June meeting. We met with the CAO and Jenna and Jessica as a communications coordinator to talk about the communication strategy. So I think between vacation and there's been a lot of behind the scenes, but I think, yes, I think we're ready for really we need a regular presence, regular updates with all of the suggestions from last time where we're going to show the progress and like this much to go. And so I've passed on all of those ideas that we discussed in June. And so a communication plan is definitely in the works. So Jamie.
Sorry, I wasn't at the last meeting. So what social media are you using?
We have Facebook that we use
And
and
it's
our website.
Terrace Lodge Comforts of Home? Or is it the Elgin
it's
County?
just through our Elgin County Facebook page.
So is
Can we
there
do-
any way that we can have something that's more Terrace Lodge oriented?
We can certainly look into it.
Because just because it might catch people's eye,
Mhm.
I mean, if they're not interested in the political side of it, it's something else that is more warming to the heart. So it might be a way to approach it that way.
Sure.
And Morales, did you want to add to that? And then I'll go to Tanya.
No, I was thinking the same way as Jamie was, like, we have done it through the website, but if they had their own specific landing space, because that's also an opportunity to share some of those pictures you were just talking about of items and things like that. Like, it's just maybe a way to spark some interest. And once you get people liking and sharing, we will get people donating.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We can feature basically one item a week, right? And then promote that. So you're promoting the campaign, but every time you're promoting a different item. I'll just go to Tanya and I'll come back to you, Jamie. Tanya?
Oh, I was just gonna mention that the Elgin Homes also have a Facebook page. But, and so often the County of Elgin posts would feed through onto the Elgin Homes page. So anyway, that's just a side, so you're aware. So that might be more specific to the homes, and a lot of the families are on there and etc.
And we can cross posts as well, right? So create our own account, but then post it through the county's account, post
Yeah,
it through the home's account. Okay, good. Jamie?
It's not very expensive to boost the post as well, so that it goes out to not just the people that have already liked it, but it goes out as an ad campaign. And it's really cheap to do that.
Great. We'll look into that. I think we're ready now, sort of wrapping up the summer, wrapping up the event. And now let's just push the big, more communication. And with all, like, again, the ideas from June in terms of the progress bar, and then the idea of featuring donors and featuring items, and just really pick up a lot of momentum. So we'll follow up with Jessica just to see where we're at with that. That's great. Okay, so anything else? So we're jumping all over it, Jenna, because I like how the ideas are coming up. So I don't want to, be too strict with the agenda, but we've touched on 7.3 in terms of different communication strategies. And since we are there, anything else? So we know we want to do social. What's also in the work based on our June discussion is a photo with, believe it or not, like since the EDBO, the large donation from EDBO, we're very thankful. Just between COVID and vacation and various, we never got around to a photo, but that's now being scheduled. And I think so they donated it just at Christmas 2 years ago. And I think this would be a good time to feature them as a donor and why they donated, and then to almost like launch our, Christmas. And as someone mentioned already, as organizations and different corporations may look at places to donate to wrap up the year. So that's in the works. So I think even the photo might be tomorrow. I have to double check. So that's good. So there's some movement and, but anything else around communications? Jamie?
I'm not sure if this is where it should go, but I've been looking for that letter to communicate with previous donors to ask for them to donate again, and I haven't seen that letter yet.
Yeah, we'll follow up on that because, yeah, I think we did draft something, but yeah, I think between vacation, like July, August, like things fell through the cracks a little bit or just slowed down. So yes, I think we did start drafting something. So we'll make sure that everybody's up to date and that you have the letters you need for return donors, because this would be a good time. We had talked about circulating that. You can circulate that letter with the annual report from 2022. So you can say, this is what happened last year. If you'd like to consider donating again. So yeah, so we'll make sure you have that. I think. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so, and I think it may have been sent, but I think it's good to resend so that you have it on top of your, top of your email account. So, excellent. So I suggest, like, as far as 7.3, we basically follow through on the communication strategies that we discussed and that we initiated with Jessica. And then we plan on meeting in, a month from now and sort of see everything that goes out, do a bit of an inventory. We still have materials, like everything that has been produced, we still have bookmarks, we have coloring kits, we have magnets, we have brochures, so posters, so anything you need. And then we can see in October where else we want to disseminate. But I think it will be nice to have a few of these items just up and running first on social and letters with the annual report, and then go from there. Okay, so I'll bring us back then to, so we've done the report on summer activities. So officially go to item 7, action items from the previous meeting. We have received an email from folks at Union United Church. They are organizing a luncheon and bazaar on October 28th. And I'm just looking at the email. So that's a Saturday. So the request was, so they are planning on giving all the proceeds from that day to our campaign, which is wonderful, wonderful decision. And we really, really appreciate that they picked our cause. And so what they would like is, it would be nice if some people in your group could provide support in the way of advertising, providing baked goods for the sale on that day. And we could have a booth there, and they would like to see like the progress report, like a thermometer of like some sort of display. So basically, like I said, so we would need a presence there that day. We need volunteers to bake goods. And so if you bake goods, then like you can be there also that same day, but that's another category. And then promoting, and perhaps I can get more details if they need help selling tickets. As you recall, we helped selling tickets for the Swans beef dinner earlier this year. So perhaps if they need to sell tickets for the luncheon, then if you agree, if some people are available, then we could volunteer to sell tickets as well. Yeah, yeah. So if they have, so I wanted to check that everybody was on board to partner with this group. If so, then we can get, if they have a flyer, if they have tickets, we can say that, yeah, we're all in. So general consensus is a yes on partnering with them. I'm seeing nods around the room. And I think we're willing to sell tickets and advertise and display if they have posters or flyers they need help with. So that's good. I can report on that. Big goods. Yes, I definitely have a yes from Sarah. I'm glad to hear that. Makes very good stuff. Anybody else? Wendy? Yep. Yeah, and I will bake something as well. So that's great. So we can contribute to the sale. What about on the day? Who's available on the 28th? It's a Saturday, yes. I don't have the specific hours, I'll admit to that, but I'm going to, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 10 to 2 kind of.
I can be available. I'm hoping to wrap up my camp duties the 21st. So the 28th, I should be available all day.
Unfortunately, I have Counselor Droulard's pumpkin hunt in the community. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I hide all over the community.
Oh, that
with-
sounds like fun.
Yeah. But the one thing I would like to help with, if we can get a digital flyer, then I'll get it out to our local churches because churches support churches. So I can take it to my own, but I can also get it to the other local churches. So that they can read it or put it in their news.
That sounds great. Thank you. Anybody else available on the 28th to be at
Yeah,
our booth?
I would have to wait till the next meeting and then I'll
Yeah.
have a better idea at that time what the schedule is, so.
Okay.
Okay.
So at least if we know for sure, if you think you're okay, Sarah, then at least I can say for sure we will have a booth and then we'll combine. And we could sell chocolates too. I think I saw a message on the chat, but on this screen from afar, I cannot read that. Tanya?
I'm sorry, I just missed if it was October or November.
It's October
it-
28th.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. And then I was wondering if somebody has to donate a baked good or whatnot, where would we deliver it? Is there a location we should take it to, or?
Good question.
In
So I'll
advance?
get, yeah, I will get all the details with the specific times, where to, when and how, where, what time to deliver the baked goods. And
Perfect.
we'll put that for the next meeting, make sure we have that information, even in advance of that, so we can start promoting the event. Wendy?
Thank you.
Sarah, if you're taking the lead, I'll back you. If there's anything you need to pay.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll be happy to report that. This was one of the contacts we made through the Belmont event when we, sort of networked with other organizations and offered to partner. So this is another good example that's coming to fruition. So more to come on that. Thank you for endorsing that and for being willing to contribute. details to follow. Item 7.2, I wanted to bring to your attention the big sign that we have at Terrace Lodge. You're probably familiar, you've all seen it, certainly. If not in person, you've seen it in pictures, because that was the location of most of the donation checks. If you've driven by lately, you probably have noticed that it looks rough. It looks like it's been there for almost 3 years, and it has. It will soon be almost 3 years. So I did contact McBain's, who's a company who created the sign, and asked for suggestions, because it's sort of, it's folded. I mean, a lot of storms, and you can imagine it's gone through 10 seasons. And so they said they can, and it's sort of detaching to, like, there's a layer on top that's sort of peeling off. So they said the best they can do, like, to try to sort of refurbish, like, use what we already have and fix the backing. And I don't have his technical terms, but it would be, because I said, what can we do to try to make it last for another year? Because I feel like in its current state, it's not representing the county or the campaign or the home really well, because it's like this abandoned thing. So we're trying to promote on social media. This is, hey, let's go, like, race to the finish. And then we have this dilapidated thing representing the campaign. So we went back and forth, like, he's trying to do something and, cut us a deal. But it still comes down to about $440 so the original sign was well over $1,000 that we invested for the duration of the campaign. And we thought it was when you divide by the number of days that it's been up, it's a good investment. So I would like to ask the committee, how much it takes to raise $442 and there's chocolates and boots, and are we willing to spend that and reinvest that amount in the sign? Because if not, I think the alternative is to take it down. I think it may be time, like, sometimes, when a sign has been there for a long time, it disappears anyway. So are people really noticing it? And if they are, they're probably just noticing how poorly it looks. And if we shift the campaign and we push on social media and so those are the two options before us. And I'd like the committee's input for a decision. I've got Jim and then Jamie. Go ahead.
Yeah, would this be possible that this could come from the county to replace this, since it was a county paid for initially by the county, and that it might not have to come out of our fundraising?
Okay, we could check with our CAO to see if that perhaps out of their general communication budget, if there's something at this time of year, perhaps there's a little bit of room in the budget that's been underspent. So we would consider that. Jamie.
I was just thinking that what you said about it becoming invisible, or the fact that looks really bad right now. But repairing it may bring to the attention that it is ongoing, because right now it almost feels like it's been forgotten. So if we repair it and make it look new again and update the little hearts, then it's, oh, they are still doing it. They are still looking for donations.
We could make a splash of it too, like
Yes.
as we update the heart and do the progress.
Yes. So if we can find the money, I think it could be a good thing,
Okay,
only if we can find the money.
right. Any other comments? So is the consensus, I just want to verify, so the consensus would be if the county could fit that in an existing communications budget, so it's not, stretching or an additional spend for the county, the preference would be to actually refurbish the sign and reboot, like do a bit of a reboot. Yeah, so I'm seeing nods all around, so that would be option one, so we'll follow up with Jennifer and our treasurer and the CAO to see if that could be a form of contribution. And then if so, then we'll get it done. If not, I think and we can always decide next October or our next meeting in October, and we can always decide to, maybe we take it down. That would be Plan B. Okay, well, thank you for that. Do we need a resolution, Jenna, or no? We're just a consensus on the action item is to follow through and follow up with the CEO and treasurer. So we have done a full update and next steps on the chocolate sales, so I think we're good with that. And we've also talked about fall strategies, particularly in terms of communication. Are there any other events or activities we should be considering? Jamie.
Someone approached me and said that it's been a long time since they've been to a black tie affair and wondered if we would like to do that as a fundraiser. And I said to them that in order to do that, we would have to have sponsors we're willing to help put it on, but we need sponsors to back us in order to do the event. And this person is willing to help us with that. And she has some experience asking for money. So I just didn't know what you guys would think of that. I've thought about this the whole time we've been doing it. And it brings people together. And when you bring people together and they talk, and then it becomes a competition. And I mentioned before, I have a friend who is an auctioneer and he loves doing charity events. And if we work really hard and went out and got some really cool items, like I can tell you items that go really well. If someone owns a cottage and is willing to give a weekend or even a week at the cottage, it goes really well. If you can get tickets for any sporting event, any sporting jerseys, there's many items that are real hot items. And then there's always the little items that smaller businesses will donate, and you can have a silent auction. So you can have your black tie affair with the nice dinner and everything, and then an auction to go with it. And then we just have to find a nice location to do it. And it has to be tablecloths and fancy chairs, and it has to make people feel like it's a really important event and they're to come dressed. And when people dress nice, they are in a different mindset than when they come in their blue jeans. So I was thinking of when Mary French did her fundraising event. It doesn't have to be, it would be nice to be a sit-down dinner, but hers wasn't, and it was quite lovely. And it was just at the Elmer's Old Town Hall. So that's two different versions. One is a sit-down dinner, which I think would be cool. Or if you don't want to go that elaborate, she just had some amazing appetizers, and the stage is right there, which we could use for the auction. So there's two different versions of it. And if we're going to do it, we need to start now.
I was gonna say, did you have a time frame in mind, like for the
No, but
spring?
when does our campaign end?
Initially, we'd said, so 2023, so this year 24, it would be 3 years.
Yeah.
There's also, I think the redevelopment has been extended a little bit, so.
Okay, that's what I
So
thought.
I think the construction is taking a little bit of time. We know we were slowed down at the very beginning with COVID, so I think we have a little bit of time. So really it ends when we decide it
So
ends.
what about a Valentine's event?
Potentially. So I think, so the only thing I will say then is, so I like the idea. We know they can generate money. I think based on the discussion, not from June, I want to say maybe our May or like a couple meetings ago, when the CEO was present at the meeting, we said we have to be extremely mindful of staff. So for this, and staff have already organized the Warden's golf tournament. You've just wrapped that up with sponsors and meal and everything. So that's a lot of work. So I would almost probably what I heard from the CEO is that we have to be very careful, like one event per year is probably all that staff can manage. And then the warden would have something to say about that, like if it's a county event.
Right.
If not, I'm wondering if you would like to explore essentially creating its own committee and have strictly volunteers and not necessarily be a county event that
Mhm.
is put by put together by staff and the warden and see like who's interested and we could add people.
Wouldn't be the first time.
So, so we'd have to organize it ourselves, I guess, and add.
That's what I was.
So we could have a committee, like almost like a subcommittee just for that event with other volunteers, members who are not necessarily part of this full committee. You know what I mean?
So the big thing is to find one or two organizations that are willing to donate the upfront money, because you have to rent the hall, you have to have insurance, you have to be ready for the food. And then what's happened for me in the past is when we found an organization that would do that, they ran the bar and they kept the funds from the bar, and everything else we got to keep for our event. So in the past, I've raised a lot of money for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So hopefully if we could do something like that, but the first step is finding one or two organizations that are willing to help us. So if you guys agree, I will talk to my anonymous person at the moment and see how serious she was about helping with this. And then we could go from there. But if we want to do February, we're already September. So you can do it in a short period of time, but October would be like the limit because there's a lot of, and then it would be a commitment from the rest of you guys to go out and find items and other donations.
Yeah, and I think the Valentine's Day framework is nice in terms
Yeah.
of, we've used the heart from the beginning as our
Exactly.
kind of symbol for the progress report and
And black tie is kind of
yeah,
into the romantic side.
Wendy.
I would have just the one concern with February with the weather. If it got canceled, and also the potential for COVID, with people being sick because you're back into people being kind of confined in groups and not the ventilation and not getting outside. So I wonder if it might be more prudent to hold it maybe in the springtime. I know what you're thinking, get it going. I'm just a little bit scared.
The only thing that happens, so if I understand that, but also what happens is in the spring is everyone else has their events. Fewer events are in the month of February. They've had the month of January to get over Christmas spending. And in February, they're bored. So that's why I choose February. That's when we've always held, when I did the fashion shows, it was always in February because of that. People want something to do. So yes, we run the chance of weather and we run the chance of COVID, but at the same time, you're not competing with everyone else. So
Yes, Wendy.
I wondered also, sometimes in those sorts of soirees or events or whatever, there's a dance and you bring in professional dancers that you don't have to, if you know people, that like dancers in the theater and that could come in and teach people to do a specific dance, whether it be a tango or something in the 50s, just something that people can learn quickly. And then that sort of at different intervals, they play something and then people use their skills that they've just learned. It's just a thought.
That's cool. So there's lots of things that we can put into it. So the first step would be to figure out if we can find someone to sponsor us, and then we can come up with all kinds of ideas. We need
So-
someone to play music, we need a caterer, we need blah, 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 blah.
So I'm wondering, Jamie, if you'd like to take the next few weeks and to explore all that and get maybe something in writing, like not formal by any means, but just to give some parameters of, and this has been organized by, like, these kinds of events have been organized by others and professional fundraisers, and there's templates and checklists and just overall budget of this is what we need. And I think to, and start, because I think you're bringing up a lot of really great ideas. So put some shape to it, bring that to the committee for the next meeting.
Okay.
So if, I think it's worth exploring. I think it would, again, another boost, like a little something fun, and for this group to also rally around and do something fun. So then if you can look at the kind of feasibility and say, what, do we know what we're getting ourselves into? And do we have the support that we need? Like I said, there are professionals who can do this with their eyes closed because they know, all the.
Yeah, but you have to pay them.
Yes, yes. So that's a way, if we can get the support, like sometimes that could be an in-kind donation if say, yes, I've organized this before. I just want to make sure like we don't try to do this by ourselves and get all the support that we need. And that could be a donation too. But tapping into all the experience around the table as well. Wendy and Amaryllis, did I see your hand or anybody else on screen? No? Okay, Wendy?
There were two other things that I thought of. We have, I don't know how many books there are left, the hands books. The hands books that we were selling. And I wondered, Jamie and I've talked about this, and I had to sit down and think, do I know any important people? I don't know a lot of important people, but someone like Peter Vansbridge, if he'd come and do a reading at the library, or Sheila McCarthy that played in Avonlea, which is big in some of the smaller rural areas, if they'd come and do a reading and then sign the books, and maybe we could get those books sold. Sorry, Jamie.
No, that's okay. It's, you just reminded me that, someone from the museum committee had mentioned that they would probably be willing to sell the books at the museum. And I'd forgotten about it till you said that. So maybe you could have the reading at the museum.
Yeah.
Because then it's a promotion for the museum as well. And if they're willing to, that was the president of the museum committee who suggested that, so.
And the second idea had to do with the museum committee that's in Aylmer, and I'm sorry, I don't know what the proper term is, but whether it's the Malahide Museum or
Aylmer
something.
and Malahide Museum.
Okay. So we attended the murder mystery that they held, which was quite fun. I wanted to see the gentleman that wrote it was the gentleman that used to run the Aylmer Theater. And it was quite enjoyable. It was just I would say there maybe were 100 people, and they had a beef dinner, and it was a night with the museum, and it was mayhem or something like that, but it was quite fun. And we've attended lots of murder mysteries because they're so much fun to attend. So I thought something like that would be fun. Certainly I put them on, but on a small scale, and they're lots of fun. So that gentleman would be a potential person for writing it. It would just be to help him familiarize himself with the people that he would be providing to, because he's obviously very skilled in his area. But if we changed it about a little bit, maybe it would be something we'd have to support him in terms of being familiar with whatever we chose. It's just a thought. You want me to do a plan? Business
Yep, I
plan?
was just gonna say, if you could flesh that
Yeah.
out for us and then find out from the organizers what the the amount of time they put in, the money upfront, and then the return on investment, and what Yeah, just so we get a sense of what work is involved. So then we can make a more informed decision, but I think that sounds like fun too. Tanya, over to you.
Oh, I was just going to mention about the books because books were brought up. So we don't have a lot of books left. I'm taking some books right now. This Thursday, the homes, a few of the recreation staff are attending the Alzheimer's Awareness Day event. It's an art show in Toronto. And so I am taking books to that event. So those will be sold. But I brought them to the Therapeutic Recreation Ontario conference and they all sold. And that money did go towards the fundraising campaign. But they were like a hot ticket item. Everybody they bought all the ones that I had with me. I have a little stack and then I have a box, I believe, at the county building. And that's all we have left. And I was planning to go to the event. I am applying to go to another conference. And so I'm saving those. But my understanding is all those books will sell probably. But I didn't know if it's something we may want to look into having more printed and selling them because selling them is not an issue, especially if they go out or like you're mentioning to have a reading, that would be really nice. And as I said, they all sold at the conference. People were wanting more. I sold out. And I think I sold $400 worth. It was a lot. They just were gone. So anyway, that's something that I could look at. And we are considering to apply for another grant for a second book, a similar book, but a different book. So that's something we're looking towards for this coming year. So anyway.
Oh, that's great to hear. And we can find out if you have any, it looks like they can also go to the museum and they would sell there. In the meantime, could you find out what a reprint would cost? Because I know these were printed with the grant, but if we wanted to reprint them, what would be the cost? Perhaps that changes how much we charge also per book. If they are that popular, perhaps we can boost the price a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I only have paperback right now. I only have a couple hardcovers. The rest are all paperback. But as I said, people were they didn't even ask how much they were. They were just, I want one of those books. So that I hadn't taken them outside of our area. So that was an eye opener for me that people wanted the books. So anyway, but yeah, I'll look into that and I'll see how much they would be to reprint.
And the box that we were carrying with the booth, so that box has been returned to the county. Is that part of your inventory, Tanya? Probably. I don't think we have any other in the kit.
I don't. Are you talking about the books? You mean that are left?
Yeah, the books. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have one box at the county left over from the event, and then I have a stack that I have, but that's all I have left. But another thing that I also was considering was if I have the program to create an ebook, and it could be something that, we could sell it on Amazon or have other ways to make income for those books. So that was something that's always been on the back burner because it isn't terribly difficult to do. And it's something that we could consider. And we already have the book. And as I said, I have the program and the Amazon publishing. So that's something we could consider.
Excellent. So can you find out to start for sure the cost of a reprint? Fantastic.
And they were printed at the sorry, just one last thing. They were printed with the Elmer Express, just so you're aware.
Great.
That is
fantastic. So, and if you tell them it's for the Comforts of Home campaign, a friendly price might be suggested. Tanya, I know you sent me a message earlier today also with a few more suggestions. Do you want to walk us through that?
Yes, okay? Sure. Yeah. So the recreation team and myself, we were kind of, as we're getting into that time of the year, planning for Christmas or seasonal events. And they kind of brought up a neat idea where, because we have a resident and family Christmas event or holiday event, we also have a staff children's Christmas party that we're going to have this year that has been on the table for a few years just because of COVID. So as we were talking about these events, we thought, well, maybe we could make them like a theme, because they are for different people are coming. The residents come to the staff children's party as well, but maybe we could create the theme kind of around the comforts of home, and it would just kind of bring a bit more attention to the campaign for the staff, for the kids, for the families, for residents. And then we also thought that maybe this year might be a good year for Terrace Lodge to consider participating in the Santa Claus parade in Elmer, and also have that tie in with the comforts of home and the home. So that was kind of what I thought. It was kind of a neat idea. We wouldn't have to, we could just have like stickers, on maybe the cookies that we hand out for the kids, or, things like that, just to, bring more attention to the campaign. The parade is on Saturday, November 27th. And I looked it up, and I wasn't familiar. I don't live in Elmer. Just that I guess you don't have to sign up. You just go. And we thought maybe that might be something just to think about. It might be fun to be in the parade. The staff might like that.
You mean maybe the 25th of November? I think the 27th is not a
Oh,
Saturday.
maybe I put the wrong day. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk, so you mentioned two ideas, I think. So let's talk about the parade first, Jamie.
The parade is always the last Saturday of November. And that's right, you don't sign up, you just arrive at the fairgrounds. Before the parade usually starts at 2. People start arriving between 12 and 1:30. They line you up and you do your parade. I can tell you, if you're handing out anything, the first half of the parade gets everything, the last half gets nothing. So be prepared to have more than you think and ration it. And I think it would be cool, like if you have some residents that are hardy enough to be on the float, and if you had a makeshift fireplace and a tree and everything, you just need to find a flat bed or something to put them on.
So Tanya, would the staff take the lead in organizing the float? And so I guess for tonight, the question to the committee would be if you endorse that, if you would participate,
I was gonna
like,
say,
be on the float.
be on the float or be the runners to deliver the candy to the children.
hand
because
out.
You cannot throw from the float. You must hand deliver it to the children. So I don't think your residents will be doing that, but
So, so we could be, some of us could be walking on the side. We have coloring kits, like, other than, I'm not a super fan of candy. But
so
we
you could hand out bookmarks. and the
could
coloring
hand out
kits.
bookmarks and color
And
kits.
I
Okay.
mean, you could always tap into the students who need volunteer hours. They like being part of the parade and are a little more hardy than some of us others.
Yes.
So you can tap into that part of it as
we
well.
could
But I like
recruit.
the idea of handing out the coloring books and
Okay.
We were tossing around a few, like the comforts of home, and then like Santa's village, or like we were trying to toss around different ideas that might be kind of fun, but related. And so we are thinking to have some high school students maybe make the decorations, because we could use them for all the events, right? For the float, but then also our Christmas event. So anyway, yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like there's general support from the committee. And but I think if it's led by staff and supported with volunteers, like high school students, and can you go back then to the other event? What would that look like? The children, did you say family children?
Yeah, so there's two other events. So the one is it's staff children. So it's either if people can bring their grandchildren or children. And we have like in the past, we've always had a really high turnout for that event. And, we kind of have food, and then we have, a theme, and then we usually have some kind of entertainment, and then Santa Claus comes. But that also, if we make it similar theme for all of these events, then we could also tie in the comforts of home and have a sign or put stickers on what we hand out. And then the parents who are staff, who also could be donors, that it just brings more attention to it. and we're having the big events. So we usually have, I think we had upwards of 40, I think we actually had 60 people at the ones we did, like a lot of people come to that. So it's a popular event. And sometimes people bring, anyway, there's just a lot of kids, but there's a lot of adults, a lot of parents come. And then the other event is our resident and family Christmas party. So that also is usually a very large event. And that's where family will come in and we'll have entertainment and food. And again, we always have like a theme. So again, that might be a good opportunity there's lots of community members, obviously residents and staff are there as well. So that just might be another opportunity where even if we just add a sticker to, to the cookie, because we usually have to package things so we can, have flyers available, we have the board up at the home, but just an opportunity to give a bit more attention to the campaign.
Yeah, no, that sounds excellent. I could see between the coloring, we could have stickers made. I think it's a good opportunity to promote the gift campaign, like if you're looking, so I'm thinking if you're a staff or a family resident and you're thinking of your Christmas list, you don't know what to give people. So, oh, why don't I do a donation? So we could have the kit ready there for people with the cards. So really promote the gift giving. So give the gift of a donation. Along with we have our legacy brochures we can promote to families and residents. Do you have dates just before?
So the tentative date for the children's Christmas party is the second Tuesday in November. It might be pushed to the third Tuesday, but right now it's set. It depends on Santa Claus and a few other things. But right now it's set for the second Tuesday in the evening. And another thing, we do have a cricket, so we can make stickers, even not on the cricket, but we can make stickers. I know we did that at for the move day and things like that. So and we always give out balloons to all the children, so that's something we could add on the balloons. Anyway, things like that. But yeah, so this, and I don't know about the larger Christmas event. I don't think they've solidified that date, but I can let everybody know as soon as we have a date confirmed.
So the staff children, you said maybe the 14th of November, like the second.
That's right. And then it's set right now for the 7th. I think is that the 7th? Is that the right date? I don't know if I have the right date yet. And then one other event that we are planning
Can
also.
you hang on one second,
yeah,
Tanya?
Of course, yeah.
So Wendy, I wanted to capture your question.
I
or
just
comment?
had a question for Tanya. Will you be inviting the families of those that have been deceased in that year?
So that's actually, that was just what I was going to mention. You read my mind. So the other event that we are planning is for the first Tuesday in November, and that will be our first post-COVID memorial service. And so that we've decided to have it be a live stream as well as in person. And it will be on the first Tuesday in the evening. We're going to do a tree lighting, and that tree will be lit from that date through to a date in January. And people will receive individual invitations for that. And so that would be a good opportunity as well, that we could have information there, or even on the live stream, I can have something on that, something behind, or just something there to represent the comforts of home. So yeah, so that's something new that we're doing, and that will be our first one. And we're hoping to do that annually.
Jamie?
So are you saying that the memorial service is the 7th and the children's is the 14th?
Yes.
Okay,
I
'cause
think
you
you're-
had
I
both
think you're
dates
correct.
before. Okay.
I think you're right. So I apologize. Yes. So the first Tuesday in November is the memorial service, and the second Tuesday is the children's Christmas party. Yes.
No, that sounds great, because as you said, whatever we prepare for that, and with the help of volunteers, we can repurpose for all of those events.
That's right.
And yeah, I think it's a really good, and we haven't been able to connect with the residents and the families a lot because of COVID. So I think, and we're doing that for them. And so I think to be in touch. So yeah, so it sounds like staff will be taking the lead, and then we definitely, I guess what we're saying as the committee is we want to be involved and we want to be part of it. Amaryllis?
Yeah, thank you. Tanya, I was just thinking, what if it's just an idea, a suggestion of you can purchase a memorial ornament to hang on your tree that goes to the campaign, because it's not expensive.
You know,
And
yeah,
to, and then, I mean, even if there was more purchase, there are other places in the home where you could put them, but maybe a donation that way by purchasing an ornament.
it's funny that you say that too, because we actually I know somebody who makes wood. I don't think I have it with me. I might have it with me, but I don't have it with me. But anyway, a gentleman made templates of an ornament. It's out of wood, and it has like the county, it has the Terrace Lodge, Heart of Caring and Sharing on it, and then Terrace Lodge in the year, and it's a wood ornament. And so, because we were thinking in the past, we used to give a little angel when people would come in for the service, but now that we're doing it virtually, and also when somebody passes away, we do send a card, and we thought we could send an ornament in with the card. But we thought maybe people might want to, exactly what you're saying, might want to purchase that, or even in the home, people might want to purchase a Terrace Lodge. It had a cardinal on it too. It was very pretty. So anyway, that's something we were looking at. So I think it's a great idea, and I think people might want an ornament or a memoriam, or even just an ornament for their tree. Or so yeah. So I do have a template that the gentleman made for us. It was a little large, so he's going to try and make a slightly smaller one. But if anybody else knows of anyone as well that might be able to make something that we could, these were kind of like a wood carving. So yeah,
Nice.
I think that's a great idea.
And if it's something even at the children's event, if they can decorate the ornaments, and then
That's true. Yeah.
if they're like, if you have some that are plain, you can have some that are already decorated, but no, that sounds great. Okay.
It's
that's-
even something that the residents could make. I personally do pottery, so I've had them where I've
Oh,
just
yes.
brought in pottery, and they could just write it in or paint it, and I just can put it in the kiln. So that's something too we could make, and it would be a program at the same time. And so that's an option too. Yeah.
Great, wonderful. And again, like I think always purchasing, whether it's the chocolates or the ornaments, like something concrete, and it feels good, and it's win-win all around. So excellent. Oh, it's so nice to see all these things coming back, and all these ideas.
The other one last thing, when we have a memorial table, and we do have a card that we do send to the family from the staff. People can come up, residents and staff, family, anybody can come up and sign it. I didn't know if that's something too, if there was a little insert or something to put in that card, if that's something that you would like us to do, or if it would be appropriate. Anyway, that's just also something to think about.
Any comments or thoughts on that, Sarah?
How do you think the residents' families would, or deceased residents' families would feel about that at that point in time?
That's what I was wondering. But even if we sealed this with a sticker that just had comforts of home and then the website, and then it's not, intrusive at all. It's just a reminder, and it's there, but it's not like the main message, which is really just sympathy, right? Which we provide with the card and just signed, but maybe just even something on the card, or a sticker, because I think a lot of people do want to give back and do want to thank the home, and that is a way that they could do that. So I don't think it's necessarily, I think we want to do it maybe in a subtle way, but in a way so that people could have that option. I don't know what everybody else thinks. That's just from my perspective, but
Sarah?
I like the sticker as the seal. Then it's yes, it's very practical, but it gives that little hint of information that they can take or leave.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the subtlety is key, but you're right. Like I having gone through, like, you've seen a lot of the donations, often when someone passes, as a gesture of recognition, I find a lot of families want to donate in recognition of the staff and the great care that they've received. So it is a sort of donation moment, but at the same time, we want to be supportive and subtle about that. So great idea.
Would you like, is that something that you think I could start doing, is just having the stickers and putting them on the cards, do you think?
Yeah, if you can share
Okay.
a little template that
Sure.
you're, just what the design would look like, and then we'll
Mhm.
run that by the committee and.
Okay.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
perfect.
Okay, well, I think 8.2 is. I've got like two and a half pages of notes. Sarah.
I'd like to thank you, Tanya, and your team, because those ideas were fabulous. So please share our thanks.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to sort of be doing this together. And so the staff is thinking of the campaign. We want to work with staff, so that's great. Thank you, Sarah, for highlighting that. Very nice, very nice. So lots to think about over the next few weeks, and so we can regroup at our next meeting. Thank you. It's nice to pick up feel the momentum a little bit. That's fantastic. Okay, so like I said, quite a few action items for everybody here. So we'll look forward to reporting on those at our next meeting. If there's nothing else for 8.2, then I'll move to correspondence. Did we receive anything? No. So then we could go into a closed meeting session to talk about the donor outreach update. Just a quick update on that. So could I have a resolution, Jenna, to move into closed session, please?
Be it resolved that we do now proceed into closed meeting session in accordance with the Municipal Act to discuss the following matters under Municipal Act, Section 239(2). For closed meeting, item number 1, donor outreach update, Section 239(2)B.
Mover and seconder. Wendy and Sarah, all in favor? And that's carried. We'll just stop the feed and we'll take 1 second. And great, and we're back in open session. May I have the motion to rise and report?
Be it resolved that we do now rise and report.
Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Jamie, Jim, all in favor? And that's carried. So the last couple things on the agenda, date of next meeting. How is October 16th? Again, Monday at 4:30. I'm seeing a few nods.
Doesn't work for me.
Amaryllis, can that work for you, you think? The 16th?
Yes. My intention had been to come in person today, but first couple of weeks of school are always a little crazy. So I was tied up there until just after 4. I knew I wasn't making it.
No,
So
that's great. No, we appreciate your participation, and either way is wonderful. So no pressure on that. I know you have a greater distance to travel. But if the date is okay with everybody, so we'll mark that for this committee to meet again, giving us about 1 month to follow up on the several action items and the great brainstorm we had today. October 16th at 4:30. Probably same location or downstairs, whichever one is available. So if that's okay, then and there's no other business, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Jim, seconded by Sarah. This meeting is adjourned. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you so much. It's nice to feel the momentum again and be back in business. And thank you also again, Wendy, for all the great work this summer. Have a nice evening.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.